Picture a hotel room where the TV only picked up a handful of channels and the bed itself buzzed to life for a quarter. Here's a look back at 11 hotel and motel features that have all but vanished today.
Googie-style motel signs. During the 1950s and 60s, a bold architectural style known as Googie swept across America, showing up most vividly in roadside motel signage. Marked by sweeping angles, futuristic shapes, and bright neon, these signs were designed to grab the attention of passing drivers. Motels used them to advertise perks like swimming pools or color television, both considered upscale extras at the time. The style captured the optimism of the post-war boom, when family road trips were becoming a national pastime, and it borrowed heavily from space-age imagery that made everything feel like a glimpse of the future.
In-room televisions. Having a TV in your hotel room during the 60s and 70s was still something special. These sets were analog, heavy, and boxy compared to modern flat screens, and they came with two chunky dials for switching between VHF and UHF signals, the standard broadcast formats of the era. Getting a clean picture usually meant fiddling with the rabbit ear antenna on top. For guests who didn't have a television at home, watching TV during a trip felt like a genuine luxury, and some units even came with a built-in radio for extra entertainment. Channel selection was often limited to whatever local stations the antenna could pick up, so travelers passing through unfamiliar towns sometimes stumbled onto broadcasts they'd never see back home. That small element of surprise made turning on the set feel a little like discovering a new place.
Magic Fingers vibrating beds. Countless motel rooms in the 60s and 70s came equipped with a novelty called Magic Fingers, a motorized unit bolted to the bed frame. Drop a quarter into the attached coin box, and the mattress would shake for roughly 15 minutes, supposedly helping road-weary travelers unwind. In practice, plenty of guests thought it felt more gimmicky than genuinely relaxing. The gadget was dreamed up by John Hotterling, who built the first version in his basement back in 1958, and it quickly spread to motels nationwide.
Lobby postcards. Sending a postcard used to be part of the whole hotel experience. Many properties kept spinning racks of postcards right in the lobby, usually printed with photos of the hotel itself or nearby landmarks worth seeing. Guests would pick one out, jot a quick note, and mail it off so friends and family back home could share a bit of the trip and maybe feel a little jealous too. Those racks weren't just decoration, they kept travelers connected to the people they'd left behind. Today, many of these old postcards are prized collectibles, cherished for the nostalgic snapshot they offer of hotels and eras long gone. Because postage was cheap and mail delivery reliable, a postcard sent from the road often arrived home before the travelers themselves did, giving family members a small preview of the trip before hearing the stories in person.
Metal room keys. Before keycards became standard in the 1970s, hotels handed out solid metal keys attached to oversized plastic tags printed with the property's name, address, and room number. These tags were stamped "Guaranteed Postage Paid," so if a guest accidentally walked off with one, they could simply drop it in any mailbox, and it would find its way back to the hotel free of charge. It was actually cheaper for hotels to cover that postage than to cut a replacement key. Guests were also expected to drop their keys at the front desk whenever they left the building, which doubled as a simple way for staff to track who was currently on site.
Open guest registration logs. Hotels once kept a large handwritten ledger at the front desk where every arriving guest signed in. These books usually sat out in plain view of the lobby, meaning anyone walking by could flip through and see exactly who was staying there. Owners eventually recognized this as a privacy concern, and the practice shifted toward more secure record-keeping as computer systems took over. You can still spot old-fashioned guest books at some inns and Airbnbs today, though now they're typically used for leaving reviews rather than checking in. Some of these old ledgers have survived and now sit in local museums or historical societies, offering researchers a surprisingly detailed record of who traveled through a town and when, decades before digital records existed.
Gideon Bibles. For much of the 20th century, a Gideon Bible sat in the nightstand drawer of nearly every American hotel and motel room. The Gideons International, a group founded in 1899 by traveling businessmen hoping to share Christian scripture, began the tradition in the early 1900s, believing travelers would draw comfort from having a Bible nearby during their stay. Millions of copies were eventually placed in guest rooms across the country. As religious attitudes shifted and digital devices took over, though, this once common fixture has grown increasingly rare.
Bold, tightly tucked bedspreads. Old hotel beds often stood out for their vivid floral comforters, pulled taut and neatly tucked around the pillows for a crisp, uniform look. That style of bed making was practically standardized across the industry, prized for how tidy and upscale it appeared. The loud colors and patterns matched the design trends of their day and gave rooms a cheerful feel. As tastes shifted towards simpler, more relaxed bedding, that look faded, though some hotels now lean into retro-inspired designs that blend a bit of that vintage flair with modern comfort. Housekeeping staff of the era took real pride in achieving that crisp hospital corner look, and it was often treated as a mark of quality control, with supervisors checking rooms to make sure every bedspread met the same exacting standard.
Full-service lobby amenities. Big hotel lobbies used to double as mini service hubs. A barber shop tucked into the lobby let men grab a quick haircut, while a shoeshine stand kept footwear looking sharp, at a time when most people owned far fewer pairs of shoes. These extras gave hotels a more personal, full-service feel, and helped them stand apart for travelers who valued convenience. That same spirit lives on today, just in different forms, like on-site spas and fitness centers. Larger properties sometimes went even further, offering newsstands, tailoring services, or telegraph counters right off the lobby, turning a single stop into something closer to a self-contained small town for travelers passing through.
Designated smoking rooms. Hotels once set aside entire floors or rooms specifically for smokers, stocked with glass ashtrays and branded matchbooks bearing the hotel's logo. These rooms had a noticeably different feel, since lingering smoke odor tended to soak into the curtains and furniture. As health awareness grew and attitudes toward smoking changed, demand for these rooms dropped off sharply, and most U.S. hotels are now entirely smoke-free. Interestingly, some properties used to keep the matchbooks guests left behind as an offbeat record of who had passed through. Even after smoking rooms began to disappear, many hotels kept a few on hand for years to accommodate regular guests, before eventually phasing them out entirely as local smoke-free laws became more widespread.
PBX phone systems. Hotel phone systems used to run through a PBX network, an internal switchboard setup that let guests dial other departments, such as the front desk or room service, directly. Placing a call outside the hotel, though, meant going through the front desk to get connected to an outside line, since personal cell phones and VoIP were still a long way off. Because every outside call ran through a central system, guest privacy wasn't always guaranteed, and staff could monitor calls as needed to track long-distance charges. Long-distance rates from a hotel room were often marked up significantly compared to calling from home, so seasoned travelers learned to keep their calls short or wait until they found a payphone in the lobby to save a little money.
So how did these old-school touches compare to a hotel stay today? If this trip down memory lane brought back a few smiles, do us a favor and hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next nostalgic deep dive. And drop a comment letting us know which of these vintage hotel features you wish would make a comeback. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.